Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Warped, a completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast, where we do unasked-for audio commentary of Star Trek episodes. Here are your hosts, Shawn.
Get me to my regular doctor. They're familiar with my weird things.
Matt.
It's completely bonkers, and I didn't understand what was happening like 80% of the time, but I loved it.
Jake.
His abs unfurled.
Philippe.
I don't have honor! What's the point? I want to live and sing and dance.
Erin.
This show is so good, we're just like watching it.
Min Win.
Would you fuck, marry, or kill me?
All of
I
that.
would do all three. All three in that order.
And May.
Dear Diary, I kissed an android today, and he told me he felt nothing.
Make it so.
Today, we're watching The Perfect Mate. And I got 45-32.
Can we just...
I gave it a 6.3.
You watched 9 minutes and 25 seconds of it because I saw it on the...
Yes, I did.
On the thing.
That was enough to know.
That was how long it took you to realize it was 6.3. I wish you hadn't chosen that number because...
That was right square in your where your torpedoes were heading.
Just, I started to read your size, and I was like, I better put my number in now.
Hey, can I tell you something real quick? You know, the other day you said that the front of the Enterprise, like the front engine part of the Enterprise, looks like a USB-C drive.
Yes.
I said that to Stan when we were watching this episode a couple of weeks ago. And now that's all either of us can see. Whenever we watch Star Trek now, which we do quite a bit, every time we see that, and it's specifically this Enterprise because the rest of them don't look like that.
They don't have that little...
This one exactly looks like where you plug your phone in.
Some of them have like a dish there covering up.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right?
This episode's a mess, and it's 45:32 on the clock.
But it has sexual content.
We also should just real quick open the kimono to bring back a phrase.
It had been canceled for a while, but
we are recording on a Monday night.
It's a weekday warped.
People have to go to work in the morning. It's late at not only is it a Monday, it's late on a Monday.
Yeah, you might think that warped is our job, and
it's like we're in college, you guys.
It supports a lifestyle.
What I'm
luxury.
wondering is how this is going to go. So let's find out. 45:32 on the clock. I'm punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1 punch. There she is.
Green planet.
Seems fuzzy. It's like
it is a little. I think it's buffering or something.
Is it, or is it just like a tennis ball?
Why do you have a big thing of tennis balls in the studio, by the way?
You never know. You never know.
I told him that
I
was
wondered
the
what
reason.
I was like. Everyone else was like, "Oh, there will be an answer."
Oh, yeah.
For why those are here.
Have you seen
it won't
my
involve
backhand?
tennis,
No.
but there will be an
Loosely
answer.
involves tennis.
It loosely involves tennis, just like Star Trek.
Hey, Shawn, do you know about this guy? Because I feel like I've seen this guy in a million things, but I didn't look him up.
His name is Tim O'Connor.
Okay.
He has been in a million things.
Yeah.
He was on Buck Rogers.
That's it. He's the Buck Rogers guy.
He's the doctor on Buck Rogers.
Yep, that's it.
But he's been in a million things.
He is also the perfect mate.
Died in 2018 at the ripe old age of
mate.
90. So he had a long life.
Wow.
Look at that outfit.
Yeah.
He was on Peyton Place.
Oh, nice. I love Peyton Place. That is a soapy movie.
Yeah.
And a show. Was he on the show?
On the show, yeah.
Well, the movie begat the show. It's all soapy as hell.
That's true.
But yeah, pretty much any hour-long television show which in the 70s and 80s
he was on.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be like the equivalent of a hoopty of this ship? It's like
What are you talking about, the Ferengi shit?
I thought I just said something about those. I'm not hearing it with that
so
shuttle.
wacky.
I just felt like there's something like
Yeah, I had forgotten that there were Ferengis in this.
Oh my
And then
God.
Stan,
There are
when
two
we,
Ferengis
right before
in
we
this.
started watching this, Stan was like, "Is this the one with the Ferengis in it?" I was
Yeah.
like, "There's no Ferengis in this. It's about Famke Janssen." And Stan was like, "No, I'm pretty sure there's Ferengis in it."
There they are.
Right.
There's a Ferengi.
There they are.
One of them is played by Max Grodnicek, who will play Rom.
Say that again. Say his name again.
Grodnicek.
I don't
That's
know.
why we have the tennis balls. That
Yeah.
sounds like a tennis player to me.
Grodnicek. But we will get to know him very well in Deep Space Nine.
Yep. He's there. He is on the
Quark's-
left. There he is on the
Quark's
left.
lovable brother, Rom.
Rom, one of the great
Father of
characters.
I love
Nog.
how they barge in. Like,
yeah.
One of
And
the
then they're all
great
like,
characters
"Oh, it's
of Star
alright."
Trek.
Yeah.
This remind me of just like
I just think it's hilarious how many of the long-standing Ferengi in Deep Space Nine all played Ferengi of other origin, like other characters, but were Ferengi.
Well, there's
Like-
a very specific sort of,
I guess.
even without the makeup, Ferengis are small and skinny, right?
Right.
So
they're
you're
little people. They're,
you have a sort of
yeah.
They're short in
specific
stature.
type that you're looking for, and I guess if you find someone who looks good as a Ferengi
And willing
in
to
the makeup
take on the
and is
time to
willing
do the
to
makeup,
sit there
yeah.
while you do it and is a good actor on top of all of that, then you just
Yeah.
you keep that name in your Rolodex.
I mean,
or
is
whatever.
there a Yao Ming or Shaquille O'Neal of the Ferengi that occasionally pops
There's
up?
no, I've never seen a tall Ferengi.
It's all Ferengi.
Like a big like he's like their warrior.
The Jabba the Hutt
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
Ferengi.
just like
6 feet
Just
tall.
like-
Yeah, it's like 5'11",
or just gigantic.
just muscle bound and
No. Every Ferengi
can't
looks
throw,
like
can't shoot a free
every
throw.
every Ferengi looks like every other Ferengi,
Yeah.
including the women. It's classic Star Trek. Every alien race looks one way.
Yeah.
Right.
Humans look like all kind of different things, but
Yeah.
if you're an alien, you look like every other alien.
That
Vulcans
fashion-
aren't allowed to
fashion
have
is like
any kind
Every
of
Vulcan
hairstyle.
has the same haircut.
Yeah.
Every Vulcan has the same haircut.
Yeah.
Every Klingon has the ridges.
Keeps
Like
it
they're
simple.
just
That's why I say all those planets. It's like everything is like a planet with a theme. It's like
they all
it's
it's all like
one economy.
it's
the
a
pleasure
desert
planet.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's the Star Wars thing where it's
Yeah.
like it's a forest moon. It's
Yeah.
nothing but forests.
Yeah.
wow.
What's the stats?
We're
Shawn?
watching season 5, episode 21, The Perfect Mate. Original air date April 25th, 1992. Ferengi machinations unleash a diplomatic gift aboard the Enterprise. The rare empathic perfect mate, ready to bond with any male around her.
Mhm.
Aaron, you watched the first 9 minutes and 57 seconds of this episode.
Correct.
And what did you say your guess was?
6'3".
That's a good guess.
Renee?
I liked it. I'm going to go 7-7. I call it the Phoenix effect.
That's true. Anybody else?
He looks like he's coming to America.
Yeah.
They've
does,
they've put
Like they
makeup on
borrowed
they've
it.
put makeup on the bottom of his earlobes to connect them to the sides of his cheeks. Wait till you see it again. Like
That was at O'Connor's insistence. He was not part of the original costume.
6.9.
I think. What'd you say, Jake?
6.9.
6.9.
I'm gonna say 5.8. I'm going
No,
real
it's
low.
better than that.
I know. I'm gonna
He's
go.
like the average height of an adult
5.8 is
Ferengi.
like 5.8 is like this episode is incompetent. It's not that bad.
I know.
It's probably a 6.
I'm going.
I'm gonna say 6.6.
7-3.
Damn.
So 6-9 is your winner.
Hey.
Whoa. Nice.
I think Famke probably bumps it up, huh?
I think Famke.
Probably.
You know,
He is very good in it.
she is very good at
And
it.
the Ferengis are a nice add of comedic relief.
Yeah, they're classic Ferengi. By this point in the show,
Goofy
they are
Ferengis.
just
Yeah.
classic bumblers, right?
Yeah.
He literally bumbles his
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
into.
This was me cleaning the
into
podcast
this.
ranch today.
I want a robe like that guy's got.
He looks
Pretty
terrific.
billowy.
You need some shiny
Look at
fabric
those
in your
gloves, man.
I like the
Yeah.
high
Those are like
neck.
superhero style.
Yeah, they got
gloves.
Meanwhile, the Ferengi have been allowed to just roam the ship.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, you would think that if you have two Ferengi on board who are, like, sort of famously schemers and manipulators, you would be like, fine, we rescued you. Stay in your quarters until we take you somewhere where we can let you off. But instead, they're just running around the ship, bothering Jean-Luc. And Jean-Luc doesn't even say, get the fuck out of here, dude. He's just like, pardon me, we'll be...
Here we go. This was me earlier. I was like, people need a place to sit down. I gotta move this stuff. No, the Ferengis...
You had giant blue barrels in here?
We have this room.
This room has everything.
You'd be surprised the metamorphosis it has to undergo just
to turn into the studio.
Yep. But,
normally it's docking bay 3.
I'm climbing up on barrels trying to get to it. No, the Ferengis immediately reminded me of like when your kids bring over friends who are just like dicks. And they come in and they're all like you can tell they're excited to be there, but then they're all like either like, I guess it's all right. Like they're all like,
yeah.
Finally, Jordy is the one who's like...
They're wandering everywhere. Like, it's totally like that.
Yeah, it's okay if I use your toothbrush.
Yeah. Can I stick your toothbrush in my butt?
But they're also, like, insulting you the whole time. It's great.
I'm like, no, and they take it out of their butt. I'm like, you're supposed to ask before you... Never mind.
It's better to ask forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
So everyone knows that.
And they're using your remote.
Yeah.
Remember those barrels? Those are what fell on Worf and broke his back.
Yeah, you think he would have drop kicked them all?
Never has there been less need to stand on a bunch of barrels.
Yeah,
it's not even clear why he's standing.
I feel like this thing feels so futuristic that it could easily be knocked over by some spilled barrels.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe don't put it in the barrel room then. I don't know. Do we have any rooms without?
They couldn't have found a more secure location for it than one of the docking bays.
That Ferengi are allowed into.
I know,
for
exactly.
Some reason.
It's barrels everywhere.
The egg is hatching.
And then it's
What's
like...
inside?
I think the Ferengis benefited from the fact that their mind is occupied by that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They're
suppose.
already busy hosting.
But I feel like there should be just like a basic rule that like visitors to the ship are not allowed.
And now they're confined to quarters.
Well, they should be restricted to a few areas, like 10 floors.
The public area. You can go to the restaurant. You can go to the barber shop.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally says he was looking for the barber shop, which is a funny joke because Ferengis are bald.
No hair.
There she is. There's Famke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the Trill makeup on. She's not a Trill, but she's got the Trill makeup on.
Was this her first
It was in fashion.
thing, you think? I mean...
I don't know. I didn't look up her... It's pre-X-Men.
It's before Goldeneye. I thought Goldeneye was the first.
Yeah, Goldeneye would be the first thing I remember her from. Is this before that?
Yeah, I think so.
This is 92. What year is Goldeneye?
Like 90.
96, 97.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Way earlier.
Maybe it was... Well, maybe not that. Maybe 90. I don't know.
Her name is Kamala.
That sounds about right. 95 or 96, I would say. Shawn.
Her name is Kamala. They say it Kamala on the show, not Kamala.
Well, that's going to screw me up.
Yeah, pretty much. She had been in
like
one other thing
Andrea
before
could be
this,
said 100 different ways.
She was on this, and then she just did a bunch of stuff. Kind of.
She didn't do a bunch of like European stuff before this.
No.
No.
And then 95 was when Goldeneye.
95.
She was in Lord of Illusions.
Mm-hmm.
The Clive
With
Barker
Scott
Bakula movie. But yeah, she was in one other thing.
Look how horny Riker is immediately.
They're both just like excited. I didn't recognize her because I'm not used to her with such dark hair. Doesn't she normally have
I thought you were
going
to say because of the spots.
Yeah. Her in X-Men she has like a red hair.
They give her red hair because Jean Grey has red hair in the comic books.
She's got dark hair though in Goldeneye.
Does she?
Yeah. Xenia on the top.
Yeah. That's right.
Anatop.
That was her last name.
She has a classic Bond girl
she
name.
crushed men with her legs.
That's right.
Was her go-to.
That was her kill move.
That was her kill move. She would crush them between her thighs.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Nice.
She's an empathic metamorph. That's what she's telling them right now.
Mm-hmm.
This episode kind of reminds me of the gay episode we watched a few weeks ago,
Sure.
where it feels like they're trying to tackle issues that they aren't quite able to tackle. Because this episode is kind of about like feminism and like free will, but it doesn't quite know how to handle that, especially in a 1992-y kind of way. I think this episode is not great. I think it is aged badly. Let's put it that way.
She's really good.
She's really good.
And
Thing is, I thought it actually harkened back to like Regency, like, you know, your Pride and Prejudice, your Jane Austen, because, you know, back when they used to groom girls for marriage.
Sure, it's an arranged marriage.
Yeah, but the thing is,
it's a little worse than that because of the whole.
So she's in an egg pod because she's gonna get married.
yeah, she's in an egg pod because she's gonna get married, but she's been like specially genetically made to marry a specific guy,
and just like been in storage for a while.
Yeah, but her whole thing is once she like imprints on the dude she's supposed
that's
to
right.
marry.
She imprinted on Picard. I saw that.
Yeah, so she kind
You
of is like
somehow
a
saw
mirror
the
to
very
them.
end and the very beginning.
No, she imprints on him. She's like
No, right at
calls
the
him
very
something.
end.
No, she does it when she walks out of the egg. She goes right up to Picard and is like,
she thinks he's the other guy.
Yeah,
she thinks
she
he's
thinks
the
he's
guy
the
she's
guy.
supposed to marry.
yeah.
But there's
so
like
I
a- But
count
she
that
didn't
as
imprint
imprinting.
on it.
She
Oh,
she has
didn't?
she has a time limit.
Yeah,
basically.
she's like a time delay.
Okay, let me do a quick plot thing.
Yeah.
I think we were doing.
There are two aliens that are at war, and she is a arranged marriage to one of the leaders from the other alien. Look at that.
that's right to it.
Good kiss.
Riker.
Good kiss.
That
Riker
is
opened
some-
his mouth
that is
real
a big
early. There was no
open mouth
hesitation.
kiss.
Yeah.
What she is
Sorry, baby. Gotta go.
essentially a blank slate who becomes whoever she's in the room with. She becomes the perfect mate to that person. So Riker's into fucking. So because she's with Riker, into fucking. When she gets around Worf, she growls at him because that's what Worf is into. When she's around Picard, she talks about archaeology and
Very
shit because that's what
intellectual.
Picard is into. She becomes whoever she's around, basically. And the whole point of her is that she's supposed to marry this dude and become his perfect mate. And
thereby
in
broker
addition,
peace.
it broke her peace between these two warring species.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, this episode gets into all these
I
kind of
thought you
like,
said she broke her piece.
Yeah.
she did break her
Aw.
piece.
She did it with
She broke
Riker.
her
He
egg.
broke
Look at
her
Riker
piece.
taking
Yeah.
the fucking high road.
Riker takes the high road, but look at him. He's not happy
I
about
gotta
it.
go to the, well, he says right now, I'm going to the holodeck.
He's like, I'll be jerking off in holodeck.
He says it. What? I'm in the holodeck. I laughed so hard when I watched this
Yep.
episode the other day. I was like, oh my
Holodeck
God,
floor.
they actually acknowledged
I
it
just
for
cleaned
once.
holodeck floor. Somebody-
off to the brothels of Selassie
Off to
5.
Ryza.
And somewhere on the ship,
It's time for some Jamaharon,
he
baby.
just announced that somewhere on the ship's like, God damn it.
I just-
Yeah.
Some lower deck schlub.
I just
gotta
cleaned
I'm
clean
that
going
room.
to clean
Leave her
that
on.
holodeck floor. Hey man, train me. I don't want to clean it. I don't want to clean it.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at the way he tears into that brioche. He's just like, he's so irritated right now. He's just slime. He's like, I'm putting some jam on this bread, but in a very angry way.
Jamming the frack out of that bread.
Beverly is not
Meanwhile,
happy about
Beverly
it.
is the only voice of reason in this episode.
Yeah.
She's like, this is prostitution. This woman has no choice.
Yeah.
She's literally been grown
Sold.
since birth to do this. She's not genetically. She's like an anomaly. They're like
They said it was-
only 1 in 100 years gets
Yeah.
born or
Yeah.
whatever. But they
She has
have
special
literally
pheromones too, which is why it's so easy for
Right.
men
Although,
to
yeah,
like.
yeah, it was also interesting that they said it happens to men a lot more in their race. Which,
right.
So,
But it's also weird that the women aren't affected by her.
sure.
That'd
It's real
be fun.
binary.
Very
That
bad.
would be
Very
a lot more fun.
1992. Only the men are horny for her.
Well, and their whole
Deanna's
argument
not
why
even
it's
in
okay
this
is-
episode. Deanna is not even in this
No.
episode.
She refused to.
And
be.
this
Yeah.
feels like an episode where Deanna would have some things to say about what's
Yeah,
going on.
Beverly's the
Deanna's an
only one who
empath.
voices.
Why isn't she involved in all of this?
She would ruin the fun. She would absolutely ruin
I think the real answer is that the writers were like, if Deanna's in this one, she's going to ask some questions.
Yeah, exactly.
That
feel
we
like answering.
don't, as writers, don't have answers to.
No, why
So
is-
let's just say she's at a conference or something.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
we, as an all white male
Right.
writers room,
Exactly right.
straight men with wives and daughters who we don't have to explain things to.
So here's where the question comes in. She bonds with Picard. But the question that I couldn't figure out is this legit? Or is this just her doing what she does, right? Because they say that she's in this like heightened state of horniness, right? Because she's about to get married to the guy. So she has this effect on every man she meets.
Mm-hmm.
She's throwing off these pheromones. No one can resist her. But it's unclear to me whether she has any say in the matter. The more I thought about this episode, the more I was like, this kind of episode is kind of about like, is this person competent to make the choice that she's making?
Or has like through
Or has
grooming-
she been, because
groomed.
she's been born and groomed into this her entire life, it's almost like being in a cult, like
So
Scientology
any
or something.
agency's been groomed out of her.
Does she have the agency to make the decision that she makes?
I think she would say yes.
Well, of course she would.
Well, that's
but
the argument of
problem.
the show. That's the whole argument of the show is
Well,
that she makes
I mean,
that argument. She
Isn't that the point of her like increased attraction to Picard? Because of all the men she meets, he's the only one that's actually interested in what she feels.
But she just becomes more like Picard, which is her whole deal.
But by
If she
becoming more like Picard, she gives herself more agency because Picard
Because she
allows
becomes more like Picard.
Yeah, exactly.
But the initial motivation.
That's just a personality transfer from him. It's not her.
But
the question is, who
but
is she?
even if it is a person, even if it comes from him, it's opening
enables
her to have
yeah.
openness.
Yes.
you know.
Which I will tell you an
like a chicken
interesting
egg
fact about that when we get to the ending of the episode. Because there is an alternate ending to this episode that they wrote but did not film
Ooh.
that I think makes this episode
Can we watch what this guy is
6
doing?
points better.
Oh my
Is that guy
God.
doing some mad xylophone?
That is a real life instrument. I looked it up. I forget what it's called, but it's like they brought it in to be like a weird alien instrument. But it's your classic, like, sort of stringed.
He's doing it like he was a clockwork automaton.
He's like, she's at the height of her sexual allure. Okay, so what's happened is they've confined her to quarters. He has, the ambassador.
Yeah.
And
Give her data.
and what she's the reason he's confined her to quarters is, look, this woman is walking sex, and every man who comes into contact with her is going to lose his goddamn mind. So I'm keeping her in her quarters for the safety of the ship.
Yeah.
And Jean-Luc's like, well, I still feel bad that she's locked in her room. The Ferengis can run anywhere they want.
Yeah.
So I'll put the robot in charge
Yeah.
because she won't have any effect on him. And Data's like, sure, I'll show you around. Let me take you into 10 Forward where people drink and hook up.
Yeah.
Nothing weird will happen in here.
Yeah.
I love it. All the guys are
I like that, like, they didn't brief Data, like, why he was given this assignment. Or...
Right.
That's why I feel everyone's preoccupied.
Yeah.
They're not usually too preoccupied to inform people what's happening. Meanwhile, who are these guys?
Yeah.
These are just random aliens who are on the ship this week.
Gross.
Yeah.
But they're like dude bros. They're just like, hey, look at this sexy lady.
Yeah.
Data's like, I'm a gentleman. Put your arm through my elbow.
I feel like they wouldn't do that around, like, somebody, I guess, of Data's stature, but, you know, whatever. You can't have this moment.
Immediately starts, like, broing out with these guys.
Because her whole deal is she becomes whoever she's around.
Yeah.
So she's around bro-y dudes, and she starts talking about how much she loves sports and cheeseburgers, right? Like,
yeah.
This is Good Girl, right?
Sports.
This is Good Amy from Good Girl, just being like, I don't know why I don't gain weight. All I eat is French fries and pizza. And all I love is dick. You know, that's like basically what she becomes in this moment. This is why it's so hard to figure out whether she has any like internal like agency at all. Because every time you see her,
I mean,
now she's gonna growl at Worf and be like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I like this performance. It reminds me so much of The Outcast because it's the exact same problem. They're trying to do something that has a sort of progressive message. In The Outcast, it's about,
the fish is there.
There's the fish.
Mm-hmm.
It's about gay people. And in this episode, it's about sort of like women being forced into, relationships that they don't want to be a part of. But they don't, they don't quite like zoom in on it enough to make it really like clear what the point they're making is, except that, oh, this is sad.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point of The Outcast. Like, oh, this is sad. She got mind wiped, and now she doesn't like Riker anymore. That's sad. This episode has another sort of classic, oh, that's sad kind of ending.
Well, I think it's like they're too afraid to go do a full stance on it. And
I think like The Outcast, this is just reflective of like the limitations of their understanding at the time. So like to come away from it with just the appreciation of like, here's a female character who they gave, despite like what her character's agency is, she in the episode is showing agency and like, I am a sexual being and I am empowered by that because that's what I was built to do and I'm fucking doing it and I do it well. So like, to me, I'm just like, I look at it as kind of like a, just a reflection of the time and be like, oh, good on them for trying, Mm-hmm. This is just like a look and a peek into the understanding of their culture, what they thought about these things,
Mm-hmm.
I think they also felt like they could push it so far and kind of like have a somewhat progressive message without like alienate and without being too definitive or, and possibly alienating anybody. So, getting people to look at this issue from a different perspective probably was doing more than most shows were doing about these kinds of things. So.
It's like talking to your old relatives and the first time they felt themselves doing something progressive and they're just like, yeah, I marched for so and so's rights. You're like, good for you. You're still kind of saying wrong things, but yeah.
You're like, you're still a little racist, Grandma, but good for you.
Your heart was on the right side.
I completely agree with all of that, and I don't even hate this episode. I like this episode.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun role.
I think
she must have had fun with it.
She's actually terrific in it because she gets to do all these different things.
This is
right?
the best part.
It's a real kind of showcase.
Carrying it. Yeah,
it's a real showcase for her as a guest star because she gets to play all of these different personalities.
It became her real when she got off the job, and
she's very good in it.
Yeah, she's a scene stealer, and it's not solely because she's gorgeous.
No, she's
quite good at this whole.
Well, it's also like rare that because most of the time the Star Trek like guest star is just somebody who's an old actor who's been doing this shit for 20 years.
Some old baby.
How often is the guest star becomes a movie star after they did? You know, you got Ashley Judd, right, who was on there, but there's not a lot. Most of the people are just TV actors. You get an actual movie star that can do a movie star performance. It just elevates the show.
You know what this is giving? This is giving Amy Adams in the first season of The Office.
Sure.
You know, when you watch it together, you're like, holy shit!
God, Amy Adams, even before that, is in an episode of The West Wing in like a one episode guest star. That it's like, holy shit, there's Amy Adams. Mm-hmm. But sorry to keep. I'm going to keep harping on this. The one on the
left is Amy Adams.
Right. Yeah.
I don't mean to keep harping on this, but I kind of do. She just said to him in that scene in her office, he's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And he's like, why do you keep bothering me? And she says to him, there can only be one reason, because you want me to. Right?
Yeah.
Which implies that she has no internal will of her own. That the only reason she's flirting with Jean-Luc is because that's what she does. She flirts with whoever she's in the room with. And she literally became an archaeologist in that scene. She was like, oh yeah, these are the rocks of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And also I love Shakespearean sonnets. And Jean-Luc's like, hey, I like all those things too. And she's like, yeah, that's my whole deal. Meanwhile, the Ferengis have fucking killed the ambassador.
Oh, yes.
He was so easy to kill, though.
He's not dead. He's not dead. But now
They just threw him through a glass table.
This is an excuse so that Jean-Luc has to
Boy, that's a sparkly
look at the space
sheet
blanket.
he's got on there.
Yeah. Does she have any?
And look at the blue and red goo in the
His
background.
erection's really down low.
They used to have spray bottles, remember, Shawn?
I know. Now they just have tubs
vats of goo.
Yeah. Used to be all Barbasol.
Cranial skull dysplasia? Is that what she said?
Yeah, she said some nonsense. Apparently, they liked this look so much that they reused it when they
the dots
on Jadzia.
Yeah, it became the
look of the trill.
They become the trill
because she's not a trill. But
no,
she's got the trill makeup.
Dots are gonna dot.
The trills, it goes all the way down the shoulder and sides of their bodies.
But seriously, don't you think Deanna would have some shit to say about all of this?
Sure, absolutely.
A woman who literally is an empath like this woman, and she's not here at all.
I don't know. I think it would just turn into a big cat fight. You guys.
That's what the writers said. Yeah, that's what the writers
They're like, well, it would just be obvious.
You can't have two women in the same room. They're
two
automatically
women
going to fight,
talking to each other,
or kiss,
or kiss.
Go bingy bingy bingy.
Oh, look how excited
Jean-Luc loves this shit. He's an he loves this kind of stuff. He's like, I have to go ding dong, ding dong.
Yeah, ding.
Oh man, she's doing such a good job of pretending to be into this.
So because the ambassador is in a coma now, Jean-Luc has to take over and conduct the ceremony.
Oh, poor Jean-Luc.
No, he loves this part.
I know.
This is the stuff he loves. He's like, I get to play around with a ancient thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ooh, ceremony.
Yeah, he loves the ceremonial. He loves a ceremonial accordion or whatever it is. Not an
My
accordion.
formal
Xylophone. It's not a xylophone because it's got strings. What do you call a stringed version of a xylophone?
Harp?
No, but that you bang on with.
Is it a glockenspiel?
No,
glockenspiel is basically they're just a portable.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
Is it a dulcimer?
I read it earlier. A Balinese gamelan instrument. The producers brought in Balinese musicians to provide the piece of music heard in the episode. Thanks, Memory Alpha.
That's cool.
I knew you'd know.
Got some culture in there.
Mm-hmm. Balinese. From Bali.
From
Where's
Bali.
Bali?
But everybody now
Is Bali in the South Pacific?
Indonesia.
There's an island in Indonesia.
Strangely enough, I've been there.
Oh, okay.
It's where they play there. All the beaches are nude.
And
Really?
many of them.
That's what I was told by the Balinese waiter I had on a cruise I went once.
Many of them are. Our hotel was, and I.
So this is Professor X and
enjoyed
Jean
that.
Grey, like
Yep.
having a whole
Yeah.
episode together before they become Professor
pretty
X
funny.
and Jean
Yeah.
Grey.
The amount of conversations they would have as X-Men later on. Kind of funny.
And she calls herself a mutant in this
Yeah, yeah.
episode, which is funny.
Wow.
So basically,
Canon.
she's saying to him, look, my entire life has been spent building towards this one goal. I've been trained by tutors. It's literally an arranged marriage. It's like, a royal family
It's
kind
Regency.
of situation. It's
Yeah.
the king and I or
Yeah.
something like that. She's literally been, from the moment they realized that she was this metamorph, she's been trained by tutors. It's why she knows all about archaeology and shit when she talks to Shawn Luke. She's been trained to be this perfect woman, which again raises the question of, if you've been trained your entire life, if you're Giovanni Ribisi and your parents were Scientologists, and you've spent your entire life growing up in Scientology, would it even occur to you to question Scientology? Like, I don't know.
You could say that about any religion, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
So
more culty than religion-y, though.
you were saying that she's got the spots like Dax.
Yeah.
She was supposed to play Dax,
Oh, yeah, she was
In Deep Space
auditioned. She
Nine.
auditioned. Yeah, I read
Yep.
that, too.
but she turned it down, and then that's when Terry Farrell got it.
She was like, I'm going to go be a movie star. in
They've already
gangster movies.
had Trills on the show, but the makeup was
It
different.
looked different, though.
Then
Look
they
at
went-
this guy.
when they went
This
to
is
the-
the fucker she's supposed to marry. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Here's another thing I would have changed. I would have made him more attractive
So-
because it's a more difficult choice.
Yeah.
Like making him this fucking weird ass
Chucky
looking
doll?
asshole. And it's not just that he looks weird, he's also just a dick.
I
Yeah.
just the way he's holding his chin right now.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
can
like
tell
it.
from the second you see him, like he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had made him less like this, it would make her dilemma a little more interesting dramatically. If she was like, oh, I can actually imagine, a life with this person.
Yeah,
That
it
would
should
be
have
a
been
little
like
more
Antonio
interesting.
Sabato Jr.
Well, not even that, but just like somebody she wasn't immediately
for my
repulsed
sake.
by.
Yeah.
Like every vibe of this guy is, I'm a douchebag.
Yeah.
But again, they want to
I
pound
don't know,
this
that
point.
sash is pretty
They
hot.
want to pound this point home really hard.
And he really likes those fall colors.
Star Trek is not famous for its subtlety, even today.
Anybody in a Janet Jackson video would have been a good choice.
Right? Yeah. Any of Madonna's backup dancers.
The other thing this episode had, and we missed it. There's a scene where the Ferengi was it then
Look how
they tell
great that
Geordi
looks.
to get rid of him. Geordi tells him, "Have you seen the dolphins yet?"
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
It's the
takes
first
him-
reference to the dolphins.
a reference to the cetacean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only took them 30 years to actually put them on screen.
Astronavigation.
There are dolphins on board the Enterprise.
I actually know about that.
Boy, those dolphins
Yeah,
must
That's
get
where that's from.
those
Yeah,
dolphins
yeah.
must get knocked around a lot. Think about how often that ship is getting like banged around.
Their tanks must lose water constantly.
I mean, it must be a real process.
Yeah.
One of my favorite jokes from that involved dolphins was like Boimer jumps into the water with his shoes on.
Right.
And they're like, come on, you
And
have your
they're
shoes on, man.
Gross. Take your
always
shoes
keep
off
your
when
shoes
you
on.
jump into our pool. It's like those old when we were kids. Did you guys have those signs when you go to some kids who had a
Oh,
pool?
yeah.
It would say like, "Don't we
Yeah.
don't
Something.
we don't something
we don't
something
swim in your toilet.
We
Don't
don't swim in
pee
your
in our
toilet.
pool."
Don't pee in our pool or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
People used to think it was funny to put signs up reminding you not pee in their
They didn't work.
pool.
Yeah.
They did not work.
They found out their effectiveness
I've
was
peed in a
negative
1,000 pools.
300%. It's like, I didn't want to
I've
pee.
peed in every pool I've ever swum in.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And when you saw that sign, you just were like, I'm gonna
be twice.
I'm saving up for one now.
I'm gonna poop a little.
It's not even my fault. There is something about being immersed in water that makes you want to pee.
And when somebody says pee in your pool, you read that sign, you're like,
no, I'm talking about
don't mind if I
now.
do.
Like, it's not even a kid. Like, I still. And I don't even think that's bad, honestly. I think it's fine. I think everybody knows. That's why they dump so much chlorine in there.
Remind me not to let Matt into my hot tub.
I've already peed in your hot tub. Too late, motherfucker.
He hadn't even been in mine, and he saw him. He was peeing over the edge like Calvin in that sticker.
He's like a fountain.
You think I didn't pee in your hot tub when we got home from the marathon? Think again.
I thought you were too dehydrated to pee.
It wasn't even cold. Why would it make you go pee?
The warm makes you go pee just as much.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
So Picard is kind of trying to make the point that I've been making. Picard kind of says, how do I know you are who you are being right now and not just what I want you to be? But that's an impossible question to answer.
It kind of pokes up
because, of course, she's going to say, I'm really into you.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you believe her when you know the whole point of her is to say things like that?
I mean,
Get her in a room with her girlfriends, and then when she spills the tea.
I like this tea set.
I like this tea set a lot. It's got little like divots for the cups.
Put the cups in there. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It's like the first space age thing that makes goddamn sense. Like, that isn't actually worse than what we have now.
I know. Those shiny sheets and the weird glassware.
Yeah.
The forks.
Forks with, at least they got rid of the circular playing cards.
Oh my god. Have you tried to shuffle cards that are circular? We have a game that has circular playing cards, and you just can't shuffle them. They have no
Can't get purchased.
Yeah, there's nowhere to get purchased.
They just flip out of your hand.
Yeah, they just fly out of your
head.
It's a fucking disaster.
They just shoot out. It's impossible. It's just not.
Her insides were
You
a
just
rocky
find them
place
everywhere.
where my seed could find no purchase. Every time I hear the word purchase, I think of that fucking movie. So Beverly is trying to help Jean-Luc because earlier in the episode, she was like, it's prostitution. It's enforced prostitution. It's, you know, but now she's trying to Jean-Luc's like, I've fallen in love with her. This is exactly like the scene from The Outcast where Riker goes to Deanna, except in this one, Beverly actually has something helpful to say.
Yeah, except he just said that he's hoping you don't show up.
Yeah.
It would be surprised. Like, this is as emotional as Jean-Luc usually gets about something like this. Typically, he would be very, like, you know, Jean-Luc-y about it.
It's just like The Outcast. I've fallen completely and madly in love with this person that I've known for 24 hours. Makes no
At least this
fucking
one
sense. At least this one it makes
the
sense
person that he's fallen in love with is made for you to fall in love with.
Right. Literally designed.
Built for loving.
Like juicing you with their pheromones.
Yeah,
Look
she
at
has
this, though.
pheromones.
This is actually a sweet scene between the two of them. As much as I've been shit talking
she
this
just told him.
episode.
You've always got a shoulder.
It's a very sweet
the
episode.
USB port.
There it is.
Stick it in tight.
So I guess, that really is the best port, and we'll never get better. Except we'll just make it bigger. That's
I like
the
his
future.
dress.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait till you see hers.
Yes, girl,
Look at
yes.
Pride of Frankenstein.
Frankenstein wishes.
Hey, girl, where'd you go?
Okay, so
It's like she's
this
the
is
human
Memory
version
Alpha.
of the-
Costume designer Robert Blackman found creating the wedding gown particularly challenging, as in the script, it was merely described as, quote, the most incredible gown a woman has ever worn, unquote, giving no indication as to what it actually looked like.
Yeah.
It looks like a communicator.
Blackman was proud of his work on this episode, commenting, I thought the clothes in The Perfect Mate were interesting. Interesting is the word I would also use.
Yeah.
Because it's the ambassador's whole thing with the gloves at the beginning, and then it's her.
Her kind of
Those
weird
are the two big
see-through
conferences.
dress that she wears the rest of the time.
Yeah. They like that high
looks better
neck.
from the
The
front.
ambassador had that too.
I mean, it feels consistent with the episode, is what I would say.
It just feels very Star Trek-y. It's
Yeah.
very shiny and
It's got
kind
weird
of
cuts,
like over the top,
Yeah.
and like
It's
that's
from
what Star
the
Trek looks like.
Yeah, it's got
It
Yeah.
doesn't look.
This show is
contemporary.
what Star Trek looks like to me.
Yep.
What I don't like, one of the things that sometimes bothers me about modern day Star Trek is when they're just wearing like T-shirts and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like you never saw anybody wearing a
Right.
T-shirt.
Yeah. It takes me out of it.
on the old show.
If you're going to wear a T-shirt, it's got to be sparkly.
It should be, wear a T-shirt, fine, but make it out of glitter.
Yeah, make it have a weird V cut that goes off to the side.
Right, give it a weird show one nipple for no reason.
That's right.
Yeah.
Show one nipple.
Yeah, or
just cut a hole in the where the left nipple is.
Asymmetrical cuts
Asymmetrical
in
nipple.
the collar.
Yeah.
Then you can wear a T-shirt. That is
That
fine.
guy's got a hat
Is he gonna
right there.
bang it
Was the
bang
note
a
for all of
gong and they're
this
gonna
Where
put it on?
where was Carrot Top when this episode
Right.
He's
was
right
shown
there. What are you
on?
talking about?
He's about to be born between these two join.
They're
like-
about to join.
They're about to make a Carrot Top.
I feel like the note for this guy's fashion was he's doing foliage all the time.
Yeah,
Give me leaves. Give me autumn.
it is very green and gold.
Yeah, Gawain the Green Knight.
Give me the impending death of the seasons.
Yeah.
That's this guy.
It looks like Puck. If Puck was on Stern.
Yeah, it's giving autumn.
Yeah.
So
oh, heartbreaking. Oh no.
So let's rewind, not literally, but let's just metaphorically for a
Never go
for
back.
a second,
That's what he's doing. He's going back. He's like,
because the episode's over.
yeah.
Right? Oh no, he has to like send her
Say
off.
goodbye.
But she did say right before they walked in, she's like,
She already
too
told
late.
him.
I imprinted on you.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not actually
that's
gonna
the
love
big
this guy."
reveal, right? Is that like the whole point of her is that she can pick one person to bond with, and once she's the reason everyone's hot for her now is because she hasn't chosen yet, so she's giving off these irresistible attractiveness pheromones. But once she picks somebody, she settles down into one personality, specifically a personality designed for that person. So that's why she was in the bubble at the beginning, because they didn't want her going around getting everybody all riled up.
Gotcha.
She wasn't supposed to be exposed until she got married, but then the Ferengi showed up and fucked everything up, like they do.
I like how he just had this whole thing. He's like, I'm 200 years old, and so I don't worry about them.
Right, I don't get
printing on
horny
me,
anymore.
but I
That's
don't know
why
how
I'm
you managed to get away with not getting imprinted on.
And then
I'm allowed to hang out with her because I can't get a boner anymore because I'm 300 years old. So anyway, right before the wedding, she tells Picard, I've chosen to bond myself to you. I've chosen to alter my personality to be your perfect mate, even though I'm still going to go through with the wedding, which feels like a really fucking tragic ending, honestly, because
Very
at least if she had bonded with the guy she was marrying, at least she, in theory, would be happy
Right.
because she would
now she'll be miserable, but just doing it out of a sense of duty.
Her personality would be just like his. This is where I keep coming back to like consent with, because it's like she's going to be happy with whoever she picks, right? Because her personality is going to adapt. So I guess the free will is that she chooses not to.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's the moment of free will.
Right. She chooses.
She's
But
all Bartleby, this
is that
prisoner.
her free will or is that Jean-Luc's? Because she's already been influenced by Jean-Luc.
She could have chosen other people that she happened to cross. I think she made a choice. I think that sort of indicates that that's who she wanted to sort of pattern after.
Choosing there leaves there's at least some level of agency.
Because she ran into a lot of options.
She could have picked War for somebody like that.
She was making out with Riker right off the bat.
She was ready to fuck Riker.
She sent Riker off to the showers in the holodeck 4.
Yeah, she did.
I mean, she could have not made a choice until her mate. So I mean, I think the fact that she makes a choice shows.
She makes the choice to continue to marry the guy
because that's
so that you can bring peace to the.
Yeah, because that's what
her duty.
Jean-Luc would do and want.
But
his
that's
mate
a Jean-Luc choice.
Yeah.
Is that her choice or is that a Jean-Luc choice?
Because she's like, I want to pattern myself.
All right, you said there was an alternate.
And even if it is her choice, is it her choice because it's her choice, or is it her choice because that's when she's been literally raised to do for the last 30 years?
Well, I
so
think-
she's like, of course I'm going to go through with my duty. It's the only reason I'm alive. Is that a choice? I
Love
don't know
is
if
love
that's a
is
choice.
love is love is love.
Yeah.
What was
I
the
don't
alternate
know.
ending? Tell us the alternate ending.
The alternate ending.
She gets in the shuttle with Riker, and
she joins Riker in holodeck 4.
yeah.
Troy shows up.
There were
and they
two alternate endings. Yeah. One of which they actually filmed. It's apparently on the deleted scenes if you watch this season, which had Picard intervening during the ceremony to stop the wedding, only to reveal that his abrupt intervention was only in his imagination, and the ceremony continued. So a little like fantasy moment where Picard steps in.
Yeah, that's weird.
That would have been very out of character for the show,
Yeah.
it seems like.
Patrick Stewart liked the idea, but was overruled by Rick Berman. So the other one has Kamala interrupting the ceremony herself to decline both Ulrich, that's the name of the guy she was supposed to marry, and Picard. She says through Picard's influence, she's been enlightened and is going off in search of adventure, leaving both men standing there.
Oh, I like that one.
That feels
That's a good
like
one.
the right ending.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
But I feel like that's so. I think that gives the credit to the writers' room. They at least considered that as like a good, like a potential ending.
Right.
Yeah,
right?
Michael
Like,
Piller, who was one of the writer producers on that show, that was his pitch for the ending,
That
but he
should have been
says
the
he was
ending.
overruled.
I think 20 years later, that would be the ending, maybe.
Right, that feels like the ending they would do now. Right.
Yeah.
There
At least it was bandied about.
But
in a
at the
serious
time,
way.
I guess it's more like you said, it's more. She chooses duty
duty over love.
over the self,
The most
Right.
Picardy of
It's
it.
very
which is a very
Picardy.
Picardy thing to do. Well,
And Regency.
we made it. We made it through.
That's
Does that
it.
mean Picard's perfect mate would just not choose Picard because she'd probably be obligated to some other higher cause, so he's doomed.
Right. It's sort of a classic. Nobody who would love me because they would be too busy being
Yeah.
Being
amazing.
me.
Yeah,
Something else.
the person that would love me
Is
would
it
be
Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
They call that the Picard maneuver.
The Picard
hoisted
maneuver.
by your own Picard. Yeah.
On Star Trek Picard, are you guys? Am I the only person watching this season of Star Trek
I have
Picard?
not started yet.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Well, it's crazy.
Does
I'll
it come
talk
back?
to you in 15 years.
Yeah, see you in 15 years.
Yeah.
Get there eventually.
Thank you very much for listening. Go to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to rate, review, and subscribe.
Do it.
Wow. Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Warped Trek. Shawn decided he was going to be my hype man while I'm doing the credits.
He's gassing you.
Email us at warpthepodcast@gmail.com.
Reply all.
And whatever else. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Just Google it.
We have to do
Warped.
one more episode tonight, you guys.
And it's not as good as this one.
It's not as good. It's worse than this one.
I
So
give it a
stay tuned.
6.1.
Hey, if you're listening to this, get ready for
But
the next
the next
week's
episode is a whoop.
Yeah,
it is a whoop.
Whoop whoop.
So
I have
we
some
get a
thoughts
lovely
about
Aaron intro next week. And until that time, my name is Shawn.
My name is Matt.
Jake.
Leap.
Aaron.
Hey.
Good night, everybody.